Puyallup Raceway Park, under checkered but promising skies, this is Bill Donor with the 3rd annual Rainier Trans-Am International Motocross Championship. Over 200 riders from 13 countries will be competing in this most grueling of motorcycle events and hoping for a piece of the $20,000 purse. Olympic boxing gold medalist Sugar Ray Seals of Tacoma is Grand Marshal of today's event and arrives in a style befitting a champion as the 13th Naval District Band and Drill Team welcomes him. There's an excited crowd here, and well, there should be, as tension between competitors builds. Yamaha's here, Kawasaki, Husqvarna, Bultaco, Mako, Suzuki. All the big ones are here and ready. The million-dollar factory teams from around the globe. Although some of the riders will be out of competition today, Belgium's 6-time world champion Joël Robert has returned from a 3-month injury hiatus and looks ready for action. Brad Lackey will be one of the American riders making a bid for the piece of the $20,000 action, along with Mark Blackwell, Brian Kinney, Barry Higgins, Marty Tripes, and Yakima's own Jimmy Pomeroy coming home on his number 57 Bultaco. Series leader Aki Janssen is here, out to make this his 6th straight win. Will he do it? We're about to see. What a traffic jam into turn 1, and that's Andy Robertson of England, a surprise leader right off the bat. Robertson has not been particularly successful in this series, but he's out in front right away, and that's quite a surprise to the large crowd. Robertson of England, the leader into turn 1 as they head down the backside of the course. Traffic really piling up. Aki Janssen moving up through the field right now, has moved into 2nd spot already. Remember, he's won 6 events in a row. As they go over the big jump on the backside of the course. From up above, we take a look at these international riders weaving their way among the large crowd on hand to watch this event. Aki Janssen moving in now on, and wait a minute, up above on the course, that's Aki Janssen down. He's gone down, and now trying to get his bike started. He's turning around the entire field, circling around the leader. What a surprise this is. And finally, Aki Janssen gets his bike turned around, and here he goes in pursuit of the pack. He's clear back in 21st spot, some 27 seconds behind the leader, who is Robertson of England at this point. And what a terrible blow for Aki Janssen as he tries to cinch this Trans-Am Series. 6 wins in a row, and there you see him all alone, trailing the entire field, and he's got a giant, monumental catch-up job to do, and I don't know whether he can make it. This is an awful long ways to come from behind. Few, if any, riders in the world could make up this distance on an international field. Meanwhile, up to the front of the pack, that's Robertson in front, and right behind him now comes Heikki Mikkola of Finland. Mikkola has now moved into 2nd. He trails Aki Janssen in the series. Over the jumps go the riders. They look like they're propelled out of cannons, flying through the air amid the large crowd. It's still Robertson in front, riding very well. That's Aki Janssen trying to move up. He's all alone. No traffic bothering him, far behind the field at this point. And 6-time world champion Joël Robert having a problem on the starting line, is way back and looks like he's having motorcycle problems. Johnson moving up through the field now behind Mike Runyard of Los Angeles, trying to weave his way through. The crowd taking it all in, taking a look at the international riders at Puyallup. Robertson, the leader. The course already beginning to get chewed up by these riders on their 500cc bikes. They're really getting it all together here. They feel out the course somewhat during the early going, and there you get a view of the overall field, and you can see the leader, Robertson of England. one. That's Gary Jones on a Yamaha. He won the Summer Series, a hard-riding Southern California rider. One of the top Americans, Gary Jones, and right behind him, I believe that's Brad Lackey starting to move up. Brad Lackey, certainly one of the top-rated Americans in this entire series, has competed well in Europe. And there goes Lackey right by Jones. And now he's starting to move up. He's the number 2 American in the field right now. A surprise in front of him, the hometown favorite, Jimmy Pomeroy, Yakima. Lackey trying to move up on Pomeroy now. Lackey from Panola, California. That's in Northern California. He's ridden all over the world. And there's Pomeroy. The crowd loving it as Pomeroy, the first American now in about 6th place. Overall in the field ahead of many of the European riders. Riding extremely well. Hannibal Taco. Lackey starting to close in a little bit, however. And this should be the duel for the first American. A lot of prestige on the line among the American riders. Lackey riding hard, trying to move up. We'll see if he'll be able to catch Jimmy Pomeroy. Pomeroy extremely familiar with this Puyallup course. He's ridden here many, many times. Now rides as a factory team rider throughout the world. He's ridden in his entire series around Canada and the United States. So Lackey and Pomeroy battling it out for the first American. The leader still at this point from England, Andy Robertson. Ike Janssen, incidentally, starting to move up, really making a move through the field. Now Lackey really closing in, getting right behind Jimmy Pomeroy, and the duel is on. Down the backside of the course. Now they're in traffic. Lackey trying to come down below Pomeroy, and he can't do it. He's caught in traffic, and up above, Jimmy Pomeroy lengthens out. There you see him, number 57. Trapped behind a slower rider, Bradley Lackey, number 7 with a green jersey on. He's falling way behind now. Lackey will have a lot of ground to make up, perhaps 30 yards now. All 3 riders coming through the S-turns, headed down to the start-finish line and the Mount Rainier jump. Lackey finally getting around the slower rider, starts to close in. You can see the crowd reaction, and here they come. Lackey is by Pomeroy. Lackey now the number 1 American rider. Pomeroy falling behind in the number 7 spot. Overall, Ike Janssen definitely moving up at this point. He's 12th. He's moved from 21st to 12th at this point. And starting to move through traffic, really getting it together. Heikki McCullough has moved into the lead. McCullough had his motorcycle stolen the night before the event and is riding with a borrowed Husqvarna motorcycle. McCullough of Finland, the leader. Ike Janssen, though, starting to move up. Lackey and Pomeroy continue to duel it out for American honors. Right directly behind them comes Pierre Karsmaker of Holland and Gaston Raher. So the American riders ahead of many of the foreign riders. And now the duel on for the lead. Ike Janssen really beginning to make a move, and you can sense the pressure in the crowd. Janssen moving up ever so swiftly. The question now, can he catch the leader? Heikki McCullough, Ike Janssen battling it out for the lead. Moments remaining in the event. They come down, and there's the checkered flag, less than 2 bike lengths between the leaders, and it's Heikki McCullough home first with Ike Janssen second, and Miroslav Halm of Czechoslovakia in 3rd spot. A disconsolate Joao Robert, the 6-time world champion, suffering mechanical problems from the start.
What happened in the turn when you fell?
Well, just front wheel didn't just rushed away.
And now some 150, 250 support class riders come to the starting line. nearly 100 riders weaving their way around this 1 mile 14 jump Puyallup course. The traffic, tremendous. The crowd really getting a kick out of this 250cc support class race. So many riders in action. They're into about the 5th lap now. The traffic still very thick, completely around the course. This is the largest field ever to compete in a 250cc support class event in the entire Trans-Ama series. And there's been a number of spills already, and down goes Ron DeSoto of Long Beach, California. And out in front at this point is Billy Clements of Pasadena, California on a Husqvarna, and right behind him, Peter Lampu of Sherman Oaks on a Kawasaki. Lampu did not get a particularly good start. He is, however, one of the outstanding 250cc support class riders, and quickly moving his way through traffic. He seems thread his way by a rider down. Lampu beginning to move up on Billy Clements. In 3rd spot at this point, Bob Grossi of Brookdale, California, and Dave Langmore in 4th. Dwayne Jones in 5th spot. The 250 race really capturing the fancy of the crowd with so many riders in action. The start itself, what a spectacle that was, with nearly 100 riders going into turn number 1 fighting for position. Clements now out in front. Lampu on his Kawasaki has moved up to 2nd and is beginning to make a challenge on the leader. The 250 class, a very popular class around the world. It's just beginning to really catch on in the United States and an intricate part of the Trans-Ama series. They run it with all the 500cc international races. And here comes Lampu beginning to make his move now. He's number 2. Riding a factory Kawasaki. Peter Lampu of Sherman Oaks. There you see him threading his way by riders. And there's the checkered flag. Lampu in 2nd spot. Billy Clements the winner. The absolutely unbelievable European sidecars for the first time ever in the United States, and the giant crowd of Puyallup loving it. 4 sidecars traveling all the way over from Europe to take part here in the Rainier International Motocross Championships, and what a display they're putting on. A study in precision as they go over the jumps. They call the passenger a monkey, and what a beating he takes. And now a duel shaping up between the team from Holland, the Tom Van Heugen and Jan Jensen, and the Honda 4 Wasp, the spectacular new bike from Switzerland, Lorenz and Samuel Haller right behind. The Honda starting to move up now on Van Heugen and Jensen. Coming down to the finish, it's really a duel now, and it's Van Heugen and Jensen out in front with the Haller brothers right behind the checkered flag. 500cc Moto number 2, and it's a tremendous start with once again the 5-time world champion, or 6-time world champion, Joao Robert, falling back at the start as Andy Robertson of England out in front once again. A lot of congestion through turn number 1 and up to the giant Mount Rainier jump. The Czechoslovakian Iron Curtain strongmen both getting a good start. Andy Robertson in front, Bent Aberg of Sweden in 2nd on a Husqvarna, and in 3rd place Aki Jansson on his Mako. Jansson with a better start this time, doesn't figure to go down during the early going and shouldn't have all that ground to make up, should be a tough competitor, but Robertson building up a big lead in the early going with Bent Aberg, a real veteran, in 2nd spot. Robertson now in front by about 75 to 100 yards, a big lead for the English rider who got such a fine start in Moto number 1. He went on to finish 6th. In this Moto, he'd like to hold it all the way, but Aberg in 2nd spot beginning to close up. It's Robertson, Aberg, and Aki Jansson, the first American at this point. Brad Lackey once again. Moving up now, number 18, Bent Aberg. A classic rider. And not far behind in 3rd spot, Aki Jansson. Jansson of Sweden. Obviously the crowd favorite after that tremendous ride in the first Moto where he barely lost. In 1st spot. Now it's Aberg moved into 1st spot ahead of Robertson. Aki Jansson moving up. And there we see Hans Meich, the West German champion. 2-time world champion, Roger de Coster, number 17 on a Suzuki. He's having his problem. Back in the pack somewhat. And moving up through the field, Christer Hammergren on a Yamaha from Sweden. Hammergren, also one of the top international riders, his Yamaha working to perfection. The number 1 American rider, once again, it's Bradley Lackey of Panola, California. Not far behind him, the hometown favorite, Jimmy Pomeroy, but Lackey once again, the top American, and he's dueling it out right with the Europeans. Lackey has ridden well all year long. Known as the wild man among his countrymen. He represented the United States in Europe in the international championships. Again, having his problem, 6-time world champion Joël Robert back in the field somewhat. Robert never has lost at Puyallup. He's number 15. He's won the last 2 years here, won the Trans-Am Championship the last 2 years. But Robert not blaming his motorcycle today. He says it's a broken ankle he suffered in Japan 3 months ago. He's simply unable to come back this quickly. This is his first race in 3 months for Robert. He flew over just for this race, and now out in front, Aki Jensen. Jensen literally flying away from the field, and the crowd loving every minute of it. The Swedish rider who's won 6 in a row, a study in the classic perfection of the world's most grueling sport. Jensen and his Mako virtually won as they go over the jump. Leans back to get the weight on the rear wheel. An overnight sensation in this series. He's dominated throughout. He can win the entire series championship here today. Aki Jensen of Sweden out in front, Ben Aberg, and there's Bouncing Bob Malley with a checkered flag for Aki Jensen. Ben Aberg in second spot. The crowd loving it as Jensen wins this moto. The tension mounts as the 250cc support class riders begin to move forward. A study in concentration. They've all got butterflies at this moment. The mechanical starting gate is ready. 2 rows of riders, over 100 in all, will go battling into turn number 1. It looks a little bit like the Arizona Land Rush. What a traffic jam. And they're off. Almost everybody's off. A couple of riders left at the starting line. And into turn 1 goes this large field. Out in front once again, it's Billy Clemens. He won the first moto. But riding extremely well is Dwayne Jones on his super light Yamaha YZ. Jones has moved into first. The field winds its way around the Puyallup track, and some guys don't give up. They simply can't get going. Down the backside of the course comes this large field. A very colorful support class event, and the crowd really enjoying it. There's a feather in his cap. Clemens takes the checkered flag once again with Jones in second. And like I said, some guys just never give up. And there's consolation for the losers. If they can't win the money of the trophies, there's always the ladies. And now the final 500cc International Moto. Am International Motocross drawing to a close and out in front all alone. Coming home the winner, Aki Jensen of Sweden, the Trans Am International Motocross champion for 1972. Janssen, the winner, in second spot. Roger de Coster, Jack van Veldhoven of Belgium in third as the crowd begins to wind its way out. A tired but happy Aki Janssen. He swept 7 straight wins in this series and is now the overall champion. Janssen called it his best ever ride in the United States. And there's the 10th place finisher, the young man from Yakima, Jimmy Pomeroy. He celebrated his 20th birthday just 3 days before this event, finished 10th overall. We talked to Aki Janssen about the series and about his future plans.
Well, I like it here, but I have a family home and children. I like to see them.
All that's left now is the awards ceremony. It seems some guys' luck never runs out, as 250 class winner Bill Clements, Bob and Bill Grossi received their laurels from pretty Miss Rainier Trans Am Linda Ruff. Second only to his countryman, Swedish rider Arnie Kring seems happy enough with his second place trophy, and Roger de Coster has a third place to take back to Belgium, the two-time 500cc world champ. A 7th place finisher overall, Kawasaki team member Brad Lackey is awarded the top American trophy. Third annual Rainier Trans Am International Motocross champion, Aki Janssen, enjoys the reward of a winner. A winner in America's fastest growing sport, as in fact we've seen here today, with the largest group of spectators ever to assemble outside a football arena in Washington. They came, they enjoyed, they look forward to next year, the 4th annual Rainier Trans Am International Motocross.